What do you consider your greatest gardening success? Since I was a very young boy, my dad always had at least a few garden plants in our home yard or at his office. I have been blessed to continue his tradition and to share produce with family and friends. I've had some sort of a vegetable garden since the early 1970s, mostly on a very small scale. Around 1989, I scavenged a good supply of railroad ties and terraced a 24-foot by 48-foot garden on a hillside in Red Bank in three 16-foot sections. That was our first serious garden, which contained strawberries, tomatoes, beets, okra, and a few assorted squash, cucumber, and pepper plants. The soil in Red Bank seemed to be well suited for gardening. When we moved to Big Ridge in Hickson in 1996, it was not long after we got the lot in shape that the new garden began. Before the garden, Faye did extensive clearing of poison ivy. We constructed two gradual dirt banks at the end of the driveway where previous dogs and erosion had made a dangerous drop-off. My high school shop teacher at Lookout Valley helped build a set of 7 steps from treated lumber that served us well for several years. We lined the banks with juniper bushes, which survive to this day. The present garden began in some of the poorest soil I've ever seen. Under about a half an inch of topsoil was solid clay and rock. I estimated that I removed nearly 25,000 pounds of rock from the clay. Some were pebble size, many were golf ball, softball, soccer ball, and larger than basketball size. I have added literally tons of organic matter to the soil through the years, probably 65 inches of wood chips, clippings, paper, straw, and over 11 cubic yards of mushroom compost. You never realize how much your spouse loves you until you arrive home to a birthday gift of a truckload of horse poop. It's amazing how much compost decomposes and remains at the original ground level and height. Now, there are 10 to 12 inches of pure, rich, organic topsoil and hardly a rock to be found. 3 years ago, 2021, I ambitiously undertook an addition to the old section of garden. It was in perhaps the worse soil than the first section, and had a number of rocks nearly 20 inches around, weighing up to 200 pounds, as well as dozens of softball-sized rocks. The new section measured about 17 by 45 feet. After 3 years of tilling and adding strategic spots of organic compost, it's beginning to take on some qualities of a garden, although there is much work remaining. The irregularly shaped garden now averages nearly 50 by 40 feet. I try to plant 50 tomato plants, a few rows of okra, assorted peppers, and other vegetables. My most regular recipients of the crops are daughters' families, Eric Hunt of Owens Cyclery fame, Earl Friedenberg, Tom Sneed, and a handful of special friends. During one very prosperous season, I took 50-pound boxes of tomatoes to choir rehearsal on Wednesday evenings, which were happily carted away by the starving artists. I've often been referred to as Tomato Tom or the Tomato Fairy, as I would drop off contributions to the bike guru at odd hours. Faye has been the master flower gardener, beautifying the front of the house and various spots around the lot. She has been a regular mower of grass, waterer of plants, and creative planner of plant and tree positioning. Jared and Noah helped enormously by installing a direct water line from the street meter 150 feet to the garden. I hope to be able to continue gardening several years. Sharing the bounty of the garden is a great blessing. The fruit probably costs 2 to 3 times what it does at the store or farmer's market, but at least these are poison free and homegrown. You just can't beat homegrown vegetables. It's been a great deal of work through the years, but someday someone will inherit a great garden spot, which is a rare commodity in the Hickson area. In the meantime, I will continue to enjoy the hobby of growing and the blessing of sharing with family and friends. Sometimes during the first few days of soil preparation, weeding, sweating, and heavy toil, I begin to think this may be the last time I undertake this task. Then in early summer, when I sit down to that first tomato sandwich or plate of sliced fresh garden veggies, my mind, heart, and palate suddenly exclaim, "This is why you do it. This is success."